There's someone in your life right now who makes you question your own memory. Someone who leaves you feeling crazy, small, or guilty, and you can't quite explain why. I know exactly what that feels like. And what I'm about to tell you, it's not some self-help fluff about setting boundaries. This is the truth Machiavelli saw 500 years ago when he watched manipulators rise while good people crumbled. He didn't write The Prince to celebrate it. He wrote it to expose it, to show you the game being played on you. Today, I'm giving you what they never taught you in school, in therapy, or anywhere else. 10 manipulation tactics pulled straight from the darkest corners of human psychology and the political philosophy that explains why they work. First, let me show you what they're hiding. Trick number 1. Gaslighting. Here's what's happening. They're not just disagreeing with you, they're systematically eroding your grip on reality itself. That never happened. You're too sensitive. You're remembering it wrong. Machiavelli watched this in Renaissance courts. Powerful men would rewrite history in real time, and anyone who contradicted them, they weren't just wrong, they were unstable. Think about it this way. When someone questions your memory consistently enough, your brain starts doing their work for them. You become your own gaslighter. That's not an accident. That's the design. Hobbes understood why this works. In Leviathan, he explained that without a shared reality, there's no society, just chaos, just power. The manipulator becomes your reality, your reference point, your judge. Trick number 2. Love bombing. But here's where it gets worse. They don't start with gaslighting. They start with paradise. Excessive affection, grand gestures. I've never felt this way before. You're different from everyone else. They're not falling in love. They're creating dependency. Machiavelli saw this with Cesar Borgia, his model for ruthless effectiveness. Borgia would shower cities with gifts and protection right before he tightened the noose. The affection wasn't real. It was tactical. Here's what I mean. When someone overwhelms you with attention early, they're not expressing love. They're installing it, like software, like a virus. And once you're hooked on that intensity, once you've rearranged your life around it, that's when they start withdrawing it. Say this with me. Intensity is not intimacy. But here's where it gets worse, because you think you know what's coming next. You don't. Trick number 3. Guilt tripping and emotional blackmail. Everything you've been told about guilt is backwards. You think guilt is about what you did wrong, but in a manipulator's hands, guilt is about what you might do, what you could do, what you should do if you really loved them. After everything I've done for you, I guess I'm just not important to you. If you cared, you would. Rousseau wrote about the general will in the social contract, this idea that we all sacrifice for the common good. Beautiful in theory, but manipulators weaponize it. They make themselves the common good. Your sacrifice becomes proof of love. Machiavelli saw this too. He watched how the church used guilt to control entire populations, not through force, through the feeling that you owe something, that you're failing some invisible standard. And here's the trick within the trick. The more you give, the guiltier you feel for not giving more. It's a debt that compounds. Trick number 4. Foot in the door. Wait, everything I just said? That's only half true. Because manipulators don't ask for everything at once. They ask for something small, reasonable, harmless. Can I borrow $20? Can you cover for me this one time? Just this once. It's never just this once. This tactic has a name in psychology, incremental compliance, and it's older than psychology itself. The Romans perfected it. Tacitus documented how emperors would slowly expand their power, never a coup, always a request, always temporary, always necessary. One concession leads to the next, and the next, until you're so far from your original boundary, you can't even see it anymore. Locke warned about this in 2 treatises of government. He said power expands to fill the space you allow it. The manipulator isn't taking, you're giving, and that makes you complicit. That makes you trapped. Repeat after me. Small yeses lead to big losses. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, because there's one thing Montesquieu understood that changes everything. Trick number 5, the illusion of choice. Here's what actually works. Here's why you keep falling for it. They give you options. We can do A or B. It's your choice. But both options serve them. You think you're deciding. You're not. You're selecting. Montesquieu built his entire philosophy in the spirit of the laws around one idea. Freedom requires structure. Real choice needs real alternatives. When someone controls the menu, they control the outcome. Think about it this way. A manipulator offers you your place or mine when you never agreed to go anywhere at all. The question assumes the conclusion. Machiavelli called this appearing to give liberty while constraining it. Make people feel free while guiding every move. Trick number 6, triangulation. But wait, it gets more sophisticated. They don't just manipulate you directly, they bring in third parties, real or imagined. My ex never had a problem with this. Everyone thinks you're overreacting. I was talking to Sarah and even she said, "This isn't gossip, this is control through proxy." Weber wrote about authority types in his work on bureaucracy and legitimacy. One type, social proof. We defer to what we think others believe. Manipulators manufacture that consensus. Machiavelli saw this in Italian city-states. Leaders would create factions, play them against each other, and position themselves as the only reasonable center. Not by being strong, by making everyone else look unreasonable. Trick number 7, mirroring and fake rapport. Here's where Machiavelli and modern psychology converge perfectly. A manipulator doesn't show you who they are, they show you you. Your words, your values, your gestures. They become your mirror. I feel the same way. I was just thinking that. We're so alike. It's not connection, it's camouflage. Machiavelli advised princes to study their subjects, to reflect their values back at them, not to serve them, but to control them. When you see yourself in someone, you trust them, you lower your guard, and that's when they strike. Trick number 8, silent treatment and withdrawal. Now we get to the cruelest one. They stop talking, stop responding, stop existing for you. It's not passive, it's punitive. And it works because Hobbes was right. We're terrified of exile, of being cast out. In Leviathan, he argued that our greatest fear is violent death. But he was only half right. Our greatest fear is invisibility, being treated like we don't exist. When someone withholds presence, they're not being immature. They're training you, teaching you that your behavior has consequences, that stepping out of line means abandonment. Rousseau saw this in social contracts. Exclusion is the ultimate penalty, not violence, silence, being removed from the collective. Trick number 9, fear and scarcity tactics. Stop. Let me show you the pattern now. Every trick I've described, it's rooted in one mechanism: scarcity. Scarcity of truth, scarcity of affection, scarcity of approval, scarcity of presence. If you don't do this, I'll leave. This is your last chance. No one else will put up with you. Machiavelli said it's better to be feared than loved if you can't be both. Manipulators create fear through scarcity. They make you believe you're running out of time, options, worth. But here's the truth Locke understood. Consent under duress isn't consent, it's coercion. And coercion isn't power, it's weakness masquerading as strength. And now, the final trick. They make you the villain in their story. Every boundary you set, abuse. Every question you ask, attack. Every moment you prioritize yourself, abandonment. This is projection. They accuse you of exactly what they're doing, and it works because of something Carl Schmitt understood about politics. Whoever defines the enemy controls the narrative. Machiavelli saw this constantly. tyrants who committed atrocities while calling themselves victims. Not because they believed it, because it worked. Machiavelli showed you the game, the raw mechanics of manipulation. Hobbes explained why it works. We're driven by fear and the need for order. Locke gave you the antidote, consent, rights, the ability to walk away. Montesquieu built the safeguards, structure, real choice, separation of powers in your own life. Rousseau reminded you that legitimacy comes from within, not from them. And Weber, he showed you that authority is only real if you grant it. You came here feeling crazy, questioning yourself, maybe even believing you were the problem. Now you see it, the patterns, the tactics, the 500-year-old game being played on you by someone who's probably never read a philosophy book in their life. Say this one more time. I see you now. And once you see it, you can't be manipulated the same way ever again. If this shifted something in you, if you felt that click of recognition when I described someone in your life, this isn't meant to stay hidden. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Like it if it resonated. Subscribe because there's more you need to know. Machiavelli ended The Prince with a plea to liberate Italy from manipulation and tyranny. He failed. The manipulators won. But you don't have to lose, because now you know their playbook. And knowledge, as they say, is the only power that matters.